Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for all of you to join today. Another Friday, and I have another fabulous guest with me to talk about social selling. And we will talk about how you can be a master in social selling. As you know, we do strategy-based development, strategy-based social marketing. So we have a strategist with us. She is very pro levels in doing social selling, and I will introduce her in a minute. But before I introduce her to you, I just wanted to tell you that safety is the first thing. So if you are watching this webinar from home or driving or anywhere, please be safe and enjoy this webinar and support us. So I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from GenZ Marketing, the host, and we every week we bring a new person or a experienced person to talk about digital marketing, as well as individual to talk to. So today we have the fabulous Beverley Poole with us. And the last event was very exciting because we had the highest joining people to our events on that day. And that's why we are here again. And we will be joining time to time from now to our digital channel to give you and knowledge, talk about strategy, talk about marketing, talk about PR, talk about digital marketing, and so on. So, Beverly, the floor is yours. If you could introduce yourself to our audience, that would be great.
Well, thank you very, very much for inviting me. And it's been one of those weeks. So I've got a really bad cold. So you're just going to have to bear with me if it sounds a little bit nasally. But thank you for inviting me, Dr. Shah, again onto your digital program. It's a pleasure to be here. And as I said to everybody, it's a pleasure to share my knowledge. I think I've got to this sort of stage with my business where I'm very happy to do that. And people ask of my advice and I'm happy to give it. It's when it applies to their company or applies to something they to do, obviously, then there's going to be a chargeable event. But from the last session that we had with you, we had tons and tons of questions coming through, which is really exciting because it means that people are understanding what we're talking about and can, sort of take top tips away to implement themselves. So my business is Aspire for Business, which incorporates an online training platform, but I'm mostly known for Beverley Poole Business Builder, where I work with strategy, both in terms of operational marketing and development of staff within companies. So that's me. Thank you.
So to our audience, if you want to ask any question to Beverly and me, please feel free to ask us through the comment box. And if you wanted to contact us directly, DM us directly through LinkedIn and all other social media that you are watching this webinar. Otherwise, we have our company website. You can also get our contact details there, and we would love to talk to you regarding any strategies you have. I was talking to Beverly a few minutes earlier that we are both neurodivergent, and we are proud to be neurodivergent. And sometimes some people, they ask, okay, what you do? I can see you that you are doing this, but what you do? And I was talking to her that, yes, Beverly, I face the same questions, that you are doing a lot of different things. What your expertise? And I say to them, now I am talking to you, now I'm working with you, this is my expertise. So concentrate on the work you do, because we work priority basis. But if you're working on your project, that will be our highest priority, and we will get to succeed. So the same thing for Beverly. What do you think, Beverly, about this?
Okay, so I think at the end of the day, people don't really understand what neurodivergence can mean. So for me, it's very much, people always say to me, oh, you've got lots of energy, that type of thing. So I take my energy into business environments. And the first thing that I do when people say, which is a question that came up today, is what do you actually do? So I put a poll on LinkedIn, which we're going to talk about in a second. But the poll said, what's everybody's understanding of what I do? I only put 4 choices and people wrote underneath there, you do all of those things. Because those people have experienced me in those different roles. So if I say, that over the last, let's say, year, what I've done is like had strategy days with companies where we look at the whole overview as an umbrella of the business, really sort of drilling down into areas when people are talking around the board table. And then we can create a strategy underneath that for how they want to change. And then, as you say, then you become that specialist in there. But I think the thing is, Dr. Shah, is having had the experience that I've had as a director of a PLC company, of four startups, three of which I've sold along the way, and helping other people to do that, is you get a very good broad understanding of what's required in a business to make it work and what doesn't work. And as a mentor, the idea is to scaffold people while they have a go at my expense, at their expense because they're paying, obviously. But that the expense is, of course, that they can try it out to see if it works quickly. So when we're talking today about social media and strategy and developing ideas, people only know what they know.
Yes.
And people only see the world through their own eyes and experiences. So if they've come from university and they've got a specialist area, that will be their specialist area. And then you grow your knowledge over time. But once you've developed a team like you have, once you've developed a business like I did with 24 direct staff and people under there, you get a jolly good idea of what is, in quite a pragmatic way, going to work and what isn't. And that's how we work, quite pragmatically.
I understand, Beverly, and I totally respect the way you do,
Yeah.
and as well as many neurodivergent business owners, they work because uh, we build our career on study, we build our career on experience, and
Yeah.
we build our career talking to people. So if you wanted to ask us anything, like ask us anything, and we would say no, we would never say no. What we would do, we will learn that, and then we will say, okay, we know it now, so we can help you in that way. So neurodivergent people, their capacity and their working is different than not a neurotypical person. But we're not going to talk about that. I regularly I regularly run a neurodivergent business consortium webinar every Tuesday. So you can tune into that program, and we talk about a lot of individual things, and we should talk about that later. So today we wanted to discuss mostly um, become a master at social selling. And when we talk about social selling, we don't understand that you cannot become master without having any strategy. So today we will present as a slider mostly, but our main topic would be talking to each other. Beverly is an expert working in social media for many, many years and have peer experiences and so on. And I am experienced in many other fields, including advertisement, marketing, digital innovation, AI, and so on. So we're going to talk about becoming a master in social selling, and we will cover specifically some of the key points that you can see. But mostly, we will talk about understanding the basis of social selling, how it is, why it is important, leveraging social media platforms, building relationships and trust, effective content creation and distribution, as well as measuring success ROI. And we will have question and answer at the end. So if you wanted to ask us any question, please feel free to ask us through the comment box. But otherwise, we will talk about it. And if you wanted to talk us to use social media strategy, let us know. We will have a video call or phone call with you and talk about how we can do. So I just wanted to introduce ourselves first, as Beverly have already introduced you about Beverly, what she is capable of. So we are GenZ Marketing Agency. We work in social media, and I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui. Marketing is one of my key strengths, including software development and research and my educational career, AI. But I love to do marketing. I love creating content, and that's the way I think the next generation should be. Because when you can combine marketing, business, strategy, digital innovation, then you have all the puzzle pieces with you, and you can sustain. I think Beverly will express the same, as she's an strategist and she support businesses, and we work together to support local, national, and global businesses how they can specifically uh, create their digital persona with social selling, with digital innovation, and other things. So, in relation of why social selling is crucial, I just wanted to ask Beverly, as you are a business person, you
Yeah.
have a business, why it is important, why our audience they need to know why they should do social selling.
Well, do you know what? The other day, somebody said to me, "How did you do business before we had the internet? And have you got better results with the internet?" Well, everybody was still running business and everybody was still doing sales. But we used to have to rake through lots of information to get names and telephone numbers. Obviously, selling wasn't like it is just now. It's a totally different ballgame. And the opportunity is there for us to make the most of the clients that we've got, as well as look at new business. So why do we actually go into social media is because we can get a bigger hit more quickly. But does that mean that's a quality item? Because if you think of a sales funnel and you've got social media as part of your marketing program, it's not going to fill it all up because you can only do so much. So in the past, when we've advertised in newspapers or magazines, paid ads, same. In the past, when we've talked to companies individually or pitched, it's the same. So it's no different. We've just got a bigger audience now to talk to, and more quickly. So the social media is a quick way to get your voice heard. But what it also is a way of tailoring what you want to say to your potential customers. So before you go there with a strategy, you've got to decide who your client is, who they are, and what's their problem. What problem do you solve? This is something we hear all the time. So the key principle of social media is to meet the pain point of your client, is to respond to the problems that they have, and to talk to an industry that you know well. So if I say I'm a business strategist, somebody might say, which area or which industry do you specialize in? I have worked across all industries, but I do have a love of property and construction and marine industries, those type of digital. So there are areas I've done more work, but it doesn't mean that you can't look at other strategies because you work within their industry. You're not looking to move outside that.
I totally agree with you, Beverly, because when you work with individual companies and when you have an expertise, it's just transferable skills, isn't it?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely.
and as a new divergent person, I think we have the capacity to transfer our skills very quickly to the
Yeah,
other capacity, because if you have a capacity, if you have an education, and you just transfer your skills to different mediums. So that's why the we do a lot of work in various fields, but we have, as I said, I love advertisement, I love making editing, because I used to be a good camera person, but I'm not now because I have blurry eyes due to my brain tumor surgery. But I love editing. Uh, Still, I do editing. Doesn't matter. Yes, I'm an AI specialist. I work with AI, data-driven technology, and lots of different things. But the other thing that I was used to work on editing. So I can say yes, I'm a pro-level editor. I can do very good video editing. I'm a graphic designer. I can do graphics. So yes, I have graphic designer within my team, and we do brilliant graphic design. But at the end, they will ask me, "What should we do?" And the idea and other things is all paid at the end. Okay, we are working together. So
yeah,
if you're a person like, if I would say Beverly, she can do a lot of the individual things, but I know her capacity when she is working with individual, she will just concentrate on that basis, that okay, we need to work on those points and then increase that one
Yeah.
specifically. So we are talking about social selling, and we're going to be talking about social selling all over our program today. You know that B2B, B2C, lead generation, content, networking, a lot of individual buzzwords that we have, gradually. And you know that 80 to 80% of the B2B leads came from LinkedIn nowadays. It's a huge, huge shift from the other media, as you were talking previously, that, okay, you used to have, you do not had social media before, but the system has changed. Maybe the way we are doing social media, it will change in near future. But we are talking about the correct individual points. So this is our points. This is our time frame. And in this time frame, what we need to do, how we need to sustain with marketing, how we need to sustain to attract more clients. And Beverly, we have social media, and we work with LinkedIn most of the time, and there are
Yeah.
other social media as well, and you are over there as well. So can we talk about that? Um,
Okay.
what are the good thing of other social media? Because we know that for B2B business, LinkedIn and Twitter are the good thing. X, I would say, sorry. LinkedIn and X are the
Yeah.
good platforms. But B2C and other things, can you elaborate to our audience that what would be the best for them if they're thinking B2B or B2C?
Right. Okay. So I've worked across all the platforms, and the obviously things have changed a lot since before lockdown, and the pandemic that we all lived through. So now we've come out of the other side. There's a lot of companies that are saying to me, where do we need to be? Where do we need to advertise? And each of those different platforms that you've just mentioned will require some different strategy if that's what you want to do. So if you are a company that provides well-being to employees, you will hit more the employees on Instagram, let's say, than you would on LinkedIn, unless you were talking to the corporate on LinkedIn. So the message is slightly different. Also, if you're looking at things like Reels or Shorts for YouTube, which of course is a great medium, people spend hours now, don't they, scrolling through video. And
Mhm.
video content is so easy to make with your telephone. You can put sound over it. I think we were just talking about Copilot on Microsoft, where you can sharpen up your images really quickly. And there's a whole raft of things that you can do now on certain apps to get you onto those different platforms, different shapes. Canva, something we were talking about. It's about being creative, isn't it? And finding out where your client lives. Where do they hang out is what people say, isn't it? So Facebook is still very good, I think, for certain industries, and also memberships and platforms, things like that, subscription-based models. You can do the same, but you can advertise that on your stories on Instagram, and then you can take your B2B back to LinkedIn. So people say to me, should I put that on my personal profile or should I put that on my business page on LinkedIn? It depends what the message is that you're giving. So before you even look at all of this, you need that strategy of what your messaging is. So whether it's about your team, about a client, a sort of a case study, whether it's about your background, whether it's about something that you're looking forward to, or something that you've just completed, or as lots of people do, a selfie, or a group picture. What's acceptable for you and your industry might be totally different than somebody else. So you can't model your business on somebody else's. It's unique to you, which is your brand, voice, and story. That's the most important thing when choosing your social media channels, is where you take your story, which voice is going where, and the point that you're getting across, of course, is what does my client on this platform need? So they're all different. They all take different hashtags. They all develop in different ways. And one of the things that I've noted with my own work is that if you put a hashtag that's got 65 billion people following it on, let's say on TikTok, it gets a little bit lost actually, because it'd be better if you had something that was like 1 million, because then you are targeting a certain type of person. So your demographic is needs to be quite sharp, whatever you're doing. I hope that answers that question.
I totally agree with you, Beverly, because when you work with individual companies, and the first thing, as you do peer, and we also do marketing and branding, the core thing people don't understand the brand value to create the brand identity. I'm working with Beverly now sometimes, and we just creating a logo for our joint work, and there are other people on board as well. And we were working day and night, isn't it, to get the best out, that what will the brand will say to the people. But mostly when I work with CEOs and graphic design team and other things, they don't understand the value, because the branding, and when we talk about social media, it's not like that, okay, you are a good person, salesperson, you can sell in social media, social selling, that will work. No, that will not, because it's combination of your branding, combination of your strategies, combination of other things that you should do to create. So creating content is one of the core elements of social selling, but no, that will not fulfill your desire to
No.
get clients from social media, because
Yeah.
most of our clients we get it from social media, isn't it?
And the other thing there as well is when you are creating something, if there's a group of people, or if I go into a company, there's 6 or 7 people that need to input into something, you've got that whole communication thing going on, not for your social maybe, but for the team. So your trusty tribe, if you like, or people that are helping to develop your business, is an area that I actually put on a business plan. So who is it that we're going to have as your trusty tribe? Who can you ask the questions of? So all people that have done team building will understand, and yourself, that every group goes through form, storm, norm, perform. And so when you all get together, you go, "Way, we've got this great idea. We want to take it to market, Beverly, or Shah, blah, blah, blah." And then all of a sudden, everybody puts their ideas in. And then all of a sudden, you realize that you've got a whole bunch of different personalities in there as well, all with their own ideas. And then once they've got through that woolly ball of evening it out of what everybody does in the team, then it's easier to communicate your brand value in that. So it's a good place to start. And on that communication, whether you're talking to a team of people to put together a campaign, or whether you're talking to a team of people that want to, to change their brand, is to get that message correct, is you need to go around that cycle of communication. You give the message. Has it been received correctly? Can you clarify that? What's their response? Do you get that response? So you go around this cycle of communication. Tuckman is a good theorist of communication, and you can look at that as a strategy in a meeting. Of you've got to understand the nuances of whichever client or company or team that you're working with, to help you to get the best out of that communication.
I totally agree with you, Beverly, because communication are the core thing of building relationship and trust. So
Yeah.
we will talk about building relationship and trust, because that is the core thing for any business to carry on. If you have a bad experience, you might have a bad experience with a good business owner, or you might have a bad experience with the worst business owners. But at the end, uh, the businesses, they are trying to serve you. They wanted to do good. It's not deliberately they wanted to cheat you in some way, like a scam and other things, that different. But when we work with SMEs, most of us wanted to work in relationship and trust. So how important for strategies for social selling, this building relationship and trust is important. How we see it.
Building relationships and trust is one of the toughies, isn't it? Because people are running a business, they don't want to waste their money. They want to make sure that things are going to work, and they want evidence that that's the case, which we'll talk about later, which will be KPIs and indicators of how successful something is being. So to build trust takes time, obviously. You can introduce people to other clients maybe that you've worked with. You can talk to your client about their particular project and what the importance areas are for them, so that you're actively listening. And by actively listening, you can give a good response back to them for their own particular project. But trust takes time, doesn't it? It's like going to networking, isn't it, Dr. Shah? You go along to networking, somebody goes, oh, hello, I do X. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take 6 or 7 times to meet somebody, to understand that communication and that trust element. And yourself, even from your own personal life or work that you've done in the past, it takes a good year to get to know somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a very short space of time to make that thing happen when you're in a business situation. Mm-hmm. So it's about really meeting their criteria. What's important to them, I think, and need and want are 2 totally different things. So you and I both know that we can talk to companies and they go, what I want is, but what we know they need is something slightly different. Mm-hmm. So we have to introduce that as well as part of a project. Well, is it right to give people what they want when you really know that the need is somewhere else that they're going to get a better response for? So authenticity, uniqueness, being yourself, being open and honest about that want and need element, I think, is going to build your trust. I think people appreciate it when you tell them the truth, and truth comes from trust, obviously. Trust comes from truth.
Beverley, because sometimes as visual, when you work with individual companies, I had an incident. I did not mean to, to do or exit from the contract. But when you see that the company you're working, they don't understand and they don't give you time. Sometimes when you work with individual companies, they have to give you time. They have to exactly let you know, to understand your brand, because we go from outside and we try to understand their brands. But if they don't provide enough information or guide you through or give their feelings to you, it's going to be very difficult. Even though if you are a pro level creator, you cannot work with them. So it can happen, but that's not end of the day, end of the road. It can be improved with trust and working closely with your audience. So we're just going to go back to our slider to the next section. So, it is core for any businesses. You talk about that. Okay, are you in the right settings? That what your setting should be, what your profile optimization should be. For LinkedIn, there's a different profile optimization. For any other social media, they have different type of profile optimization. So anyone watching today these lives, we would request you to check with your social media company if you're someone is helping with you, or otherwise you learn from many videos online on YouTube, as well as the social media platforms, that how you can optimize your account for the specific purpose to get your account ready. So few things you need it here. That you have a brilliant profile picture. So if you are targeting B2B businesses, your profile picture will talk to the businesses. And if you see my and Beverley's profile picture, you will see that, okay, we are an executive form, but we are not always executives. But your profile picture will talk to you about that. Headline, summary, and what else, Beverley, we can include here?
Well, I was just thinking about the profile picture on LinkedIn specifically. Is you used to be able to put a really short video behind there. Mm-hmm. And somebody actually gave me a top tip, and I went, oh my gosh, we can't put our video behind there. And listening to somebody speak gives you a whole different perspective of them, doesn't it? So you can put it on your feature and pin it. So you can still make a short video of, hi, it's Beverley Poole here, this is what I do, and you can put that at the top of your feature with a pin. So you can still do those things, whatever changes, there is, ways around that. But we know video works, don't we, in that respect? And headlines is key.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and as well as when we talk about businesses, we talk about a lot with Beverly because we are strategists and we talk about mission and vision, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you have to know what is your mission and vision, and as based on your mission and vision, you will have your drive. Because you cannot sell your product and services to everyone; that will not work. So you have to be very specific when you tailor your business. You have to have a vision and mission, and you have to have a vision, and then you can gather people to your community, to your tribe. And other thing is that when you do that, when your profile is optimized, and then you think about your strategy, that you target audience and creating uh, content what it should be. And I know that Beverly, she creates her own content and they are fabulous, and we can talk about it more, how important the content creation it is for the our viewers, for if they wanted to do social selling.
Yeah, so I'll come on to that. I just was thinking actually, even on your social selling,
Mhm.
is on your LinkedIn profile behind your head picture is a
Mhm.
whole banner of space.
Yeah.
And so often I see that empty. And if you've got your mission and vision of your own business, it's targeting your client. So it's
Mhm.
a great place to even put that. So you can go onto Canva and you can type in there LinkedIn banner, and you can create that banner for yourself, quite easily, or ask, a friend to do it that's maybe more capable than you if you aren't that creative. And you could actually put your mission and vision behind your head,
Yeah.
to talk to your clients about. So just talking about content is um, that's going to be different for whatever you're doing. So if you're looking at your marketing program for each quarter, so in quarter two now, if you're looking at your second quarter, what's the message that you want to get across for that?
Mhm.
Are you just going to do push marketing and tell people about yourself? How often do you need to go out there? It depends what you're doing. If you're doing a launch or if you're doing a campaign, you obviously need to get like you do at the start of your events,
Mhm.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. You can do it for however many days or weeks that you want to. And if you say to people, keep the date, people go, oh, I don't want to miss anything. People
Mhm.
don't want to do the whole FOMO thing, do they? So they put it in their diary or go, oh, I mustn't forget that. And it's what they then do is you are then creating a knowledge
Mhm.
for your business for those people. So if I'm doing this for other people, not so much for myself, because my emphasis changes each quarter, is to be quite specific about the message that you're giving out that particular 3 months of the year. What do you want people to do later on? So you want to drive your traffic to your website, or are you looking for new business? So you maybe make a sort of pull marketing. So you maybe put up sort of a page on your website where people can fill in their details. You give something away free, excuse me, and then they are, somebody that then you can talk to, and they go in your business funnel, if you like. So the content will depend on what you're trying to achieve. But if you aren't doing a campaign or you aren't launching something different, I would stick with what you do, like an advert, maybe with an offer. You could have some information about your background that people might be interested in, a client, as we said, a case study. You could do statistics and show your thought leadership,
Mhm.
create a newsletter. All those things that you do could actually go in a flip mag. So you could put that on your website. So there's loads and loads of things that you can do to
Mhm.
develop your online presence. But each company will be quite specific in their needs.
I understand totally because when we talk on social selling, and we have a strategy, we have a framework. So with our framework, when we work with our clients, we don't really see only we have to do content, but what we
Yeah.
see. We value their mission and vision. We value their target audience, and as well as we value their how much they wanted to earn. Because uh, in the market you will see a lot of digital marketing company. They will not work on targets because they just will create content, and they will create fabulous content, but they don't worry about how much you are earning. But doesn't matter. But with us, with GenZ Marketing, we will get you market ready. As I said,
Yeah.
get you market ready. In what aspects? Because we will see if you have a right marketing strategy, if you have a right campaign, and how you are doing the campaign, because we will do attract, nurture, and convert this way. And we will not rest until we get our desired outcome, and we measure everything point by point. Another thing I would point out here, because most of us, we have a website, and we let our people to visit our website. And a business website is with hundreds of information. So our audience, they get diverted, and they don't think, okay, what should I do, what should I need? So what we do, we specifically don't get our audience to our website. We get them to a landing page or
Yeah.
a funnel, because there we will put very specific information for the specific purpose. Maybe you have a couple of products, but you have to do each landing page for each product and
Yeah.
service that you do, because we cannot sell same thing to same many users. It has to be very
Yeah.
specific.
It's
So
only like going along to the supermarket, isn't it, to buy some bread, Dr. Shah?
yeah.
You've got a whole raft of stuff there. You go, oh, I don't know which one to have. Sometimes there's just too much stuff there.
Mhm.
So by having a separate page for each of the things that you're doing, maybe a campaign, an offer, or something like that, it's just the right way to go. And as you define your business, as you sort of grow,
Mhm.
then obviously you can tailor that much more to your client base. And then it all starts to make sense for people. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So in terms of doing social media or social selling, so measuring is very important, and then we will talk about ROI and other things. So if we wanted to talk to audience and demographics in on LinkedIn, we have like 76% of the population that's 20 to 35, and 60% of the population are 35 to 50. Can you create same content for this audience? I think no, you cannot, because uh, each audience, each demographics will have their own taste, isn't it, Beverly?
Yeah, absolutely. So over lockdown, I actually came across a report that talked about how people had taken on board information across that time. So over those 3 years, and it had a head for every gen that we've got. And it showed whether they were live streaming, reading national newspapers, listening to the radio, whatever they were doing. And it was fascinating. So within that head, there was a sort of the circle in the middle, all with totally different shapes around it for what the content that they would take on board. So if your product's quite general, or your service, you've obviously want to hit all of those people in a different way, which means your strategy needs to define whether your 35-year-old is hanging out somewhere, if your 45-year-old is hanging out, and is the 50 plus person, are they actually a board person, or a board level person, or have they been in their job a while? Might they need a little bit more explanation? So sometimes the videos that you use will actually sit quite nicely with the mail marketing. You can still put it there, people will still watch it. So for the different age groups, or the different gens, if you like, I took a lot from that report. I thought it was very, very helpful, and made me think about the strategy then that I would take to a client to say, um, you need to drill down far more into who your ideal client is. But it doesn't mean you've got to create a whole bunch of different content for them. You just have to deliver it in a different way.
Yes, as I told previously, that you need to think about quarter. Like this quarter, you cannot target at the same channel everyone at the same time. That will not
Yeah,
work. So probably, okay, a 6 month or quarter, you can target one thing, one genre, and when you measure your success, like okay, you have a content strategy, you have a content like attracting, nurturing, and converting those to your sales or leads, and then maybe the next 6 months or next quarter you can do something else, because you know uh, we are one person, but if you have many employees in your company, and you can utilize their social media as well, then you can do many things, but that will have to have a lot of investment, isn't it? Because
Yes.
working with individual one and or working with 3 4 5 accounts at the same time, then you need to create 3 times or 4 times or 5 times more content than as usual, and the measuring would going to be critical. So when we work with individual company, we tell them, okay, it's better to start with 1 or 2 if you have that capacity. Otherwise, you cannot get right success. You cannot get right ROI. So in relation with measuring and success and ROI, how important it is to you, Beverly, and how important.
Yeah, I actually have got a good example of what you've just said, because the return on investment is really important. We don't want to, as I say to my clients, I'm not here to waste your cash. I'm here to actually grow your business, and what we need to do that is to measure what it is that you're doing. So just to take a step back from that, is how you target specific people with specific things is in quarterly marketing. I think if you use hats as a good example, who would wear a woolly hat with a bobble on the top, and which quarter would you actually start to advertise your woolly hats? If you've got some very smart £150 Panama hats, who would that be for, and when would you start thinking about it? So by using the hat example for any business gives a good idea of I hadn't thought of that. How would you do that? So if you use that example, it's a good place to start. But when we're talking about return on investment for our clients, it's sometimes people use their SEO and their analytics to look at what return on investment, especially if they've been using paid ads. But creating content that's going to give you some results is obviously what you're wanting to do. So whether the result is, there's got to be an outcome, which is what I always say. So whether the result is from our separate pages for different products, that you've got 60 more people on your CRM from that particular page, that's 60 more people. Now we know, don't we, that marketing gives you 2 to 4% maximum from your efforts. So from those 60 people, you can sort of say that 2 to 4% will turn into clients, but it's not going to happen overnight. And that's just one particular area of your strategy, or your return on investment, or return for a particular campaign, let's say. So for the I'm one of those people that likes the outcomes. So what are the outcomes from a project that we've actually done, is the results of that. And each project that I will work on will be totally different. And whether it's a key performance indicator for the team, whether it's return on investment for your how many more clients or prospects have you actually got, would be a really good place to start. But SEO, if you're going to do it, it's got to be done properly. If you don't do it because it isn't relevant to something that you're doing, you're really missing a trick. I think as an analyst and as a software designer, that's sort of the key place to go. But you've got to have your words right, and those words, those keywords or those key phrases have got to be across everything for that quarter. Otherwise, it won't measure in a particular way. I would say that would be a good place to start.
I totally agree with you, Beverly, because when you talk about SEO, when you talk about digital innovation, when you talk about social marketing or social selling, it's not a completely one thing that you can get your product out there. It's a combination of things. So when you talk to our clients, when they see that, okay, you have to do SEO, you have to do social selling, you have to do outreach, you have to do a lot of different things, and then they don't value it. Well, they say, okay, why should I do all of those extra bits to get my product out there? And sometimes we struggle to talk to them if they don't understand the mechanism, the strategy behind it. But we have companies, they understand it very well, but we as we work with solo planners and as well as SMEs, sometimes it's difficult to let them know, okay, yes, you have the puzzle pieces. So if you think the black canvas, this is your black canvas, and then on this black canvas you have to drag individual things to it, and then you will get the success. Otherwise you may be spending money on SEOs, but you don't have social selling expertise, you don't have content, you don't have other things, it will not work. It will not work because people will not trust you, because it's all
Yeah.
about social media. It's
Yeah.
all about people to trust you, and then they will buy your product.
Yeah. So what I sometimes do, Dr. Shah, is to make it visual.
Mhm.
So either by using a graphic of what we're doing and why, and even by saying SEO, and then you've got three different things coming up. You know, what does that mean? I am not an expert on SEO. I will leave that to the people that are. But I know what needs to happen, and I know what needs to work, and how we look at the analytics at the back end of it. But if you make a visual for somebody and it looks like a spidergram and it's got little sticks coming out, and those are all the different things we've got to look at as a strategy, it's, you know, it's a great place to start, because then everybody is in the same, is looking at the same picture. Whereas if the information is in your head and then you've got to get that strategy down, it's important that everybody understands what the project is. So if a company hasn't actually had a marketing function before, or they've never done any social media, and they go, oh, I don't want to put my face on pictures, you know, all that kind of stuff. Oh, I wouldn't even know where to start with a video. You know, it's okay, because that will happen over a period of time. But in the middle, it's where to start. But what they're already doing is thinking about how it's going to affect them, or how they're going to feel, you know, and that's where you have to pull in your, you know, the communication of, you know, it's okay not to feel comfortable on a video, or, you know, sit like this, because you've got to encourage people to, you know, to be comfortable with that. We've done it for a lot of years, so it's a bit more, it comes a bit easier. But for somebody that's never done that, you know, that's maybe been an engineer, who's got a great idea, who's come up with you know, this great product, and he's done his R&D and he's got his funding, and, you know, you've got to take that thing to market. There is a process and a strategy that you have to go through. And if you draw it for them, make it nice and simple, it's a great place to start.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know. As a broadcaster myself, sometimes I wasn't a people person at all. Now I am talking to you, and now I do regular programs every week, 3 or 4 lives. But I wasn't that. You can trust me. But what I did, because I am the face value of my product, and you know, in next a couple of years or next 10 years, most of the SMEs business person will be the influencer, and you can name me at that point, like, okay, we are learning and we are getting to the world, and we will transform the um, uh, social media with our face and with our work and with our imagination, and that will happen. So in relation with um, when you have social media and you have an account, you have a social media, you need to think of what features you can have. Sometimes the features could be paid, sometimes there are some features are unpaid. So you need to think about what features and how you can leverage LinkedIn. There are paid features as well for LinkedIn so you can have a look on those if you wanted to attract your customer or client base. And there are other data mining companies as well. They can help you to understand what audience you wanted to attract, and what features that would best suit for you to go through with it. But mostly when you work on LinkedIn, it has to be very personalized, because the subject matter, you need to understand very well your target audience and as well as your product, because you know that most of the time we think that we're going to sell our product, we have a brilliant product. Sorry, we don't sell our product, we sell the outcome, because the people will buy the outcome. There are similar product in the market. Why they will buy your one? if you cannot produce a different outcome. So we can talk about it a little bit. So before I jump into that discussion, I just wanted to remind our audience, if you wanted to ask us any question, please feel free to ask us through the comment box. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui, and we have Beverley Poole Business Builder with me to talk about how you can master in social selling. And you cannot master in social selling with one specific steps. There is a strategy and a lot of individual puzzle pieces that you have to do together. And that's why we are here. We are here, and we are working on social selling and digital marketing for many years now. So if you wanted to contact us directly, feel free to contact us through LinkedIn and any other social media. So as we are talking about the things I just mentioned, so Beverley, what is your view on that?
Well, I just saw something there that said about groups on LinkedIn. And people don't often develop their the awareness of their business on those groups. And just because you put stuff on social media, it doesn't mean people will buy things from you. And we have to take into consideration all the things that we've talked about so far, and getting your message across to your ideal client base. So the working with groups on LinkedIn is a really good place to go as well. And I noticed that you'd use the word etiquette there. And I get so many messages every week from people that go, can we connect, blah, 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 blah. And I say, what are you working on at the moment that I might be able to help you with? Because if I can't help them with anything at the moment, and they live in Walsall or Birmingham or somewhere else, they're not really somebody that is going to connect locally. Or is it somebody that I'm not going to be able to help? Because when I share knowledge, which I do, and share contacts, which I do, I need to know what they do. And, you know, that whole trust element of what we're talking about here. So etiquette is one thing. We need to make sure that if we're sending out a connection, that you send a message with it just to say hello, or just one particular thing that you might like to connect with. Or if somebody lands on my profile, I will say, thanks for stopping by today. Is there something I can help you with? And the amount of people that don't come back to you is incredible. So what were they actually looking at? So, you know, we've all got to do the analytics behind it for our own business as well. So then we learn what we like, and then we try and translate that for the people. But in groups, you can put your social media strategy, or some of it, into those groups. So if it's IT companies that you want to talk to, you know, it might be that you go and talk to place an ad. But remember, those IT people have got a problem, or they're in that group because they want to see something or read something. So it might be that you put a question in there rather than a sale type post, or ask for some information, you know, that type of thing. So it's all about maneuvering, isn't it, really, and sort of thinking about what it is that you want to achieve by sending out messages, etc. And one thing I don't see a lot of people doing either is to connecting with new people each week. So growing your network in your specific client base that you want to attach to is the way to go, not just randomly, connect, because that's just pointless. So you've got to be quite specific. Research people. If you see an article in something you're reading, and you could make a note of their name. If it's not for me, I'll pass it on. So this week I've passed on 3 or 4 leads from things that I've read to businesses that I know work in that environment that isn't quite what I want to deliver, but they do. So I pass that on. That doesn't mean everybody that's listening can send me a request so that I send them all the leads, but you know what I'm saying. It's if you're going to use a social media platform correctly, think about what the outcome is that you want to achieve from it, I would say.
I agree with you, Beverly, because when you work with social media and when you work with many companies, is the core thing as to understand your client success stories as well as how you're representing them. For with GenZ Marketing, we have a positive culture that we streamline our clients' priorities and we focus them to our social media. So, to our viewers, if you wanted to know more about our work, please stay tuned, as well as see our social media, our company page, as well as my personal a LinkedIn page. You will see many of our clients, and they are not in particular a genre. They work in versatile genre because we support versatile companies. So you will see them, and telling your clients success stories. Another thing, the way you can sell socially as well, because these success stories will get you some new leads, some new sales, and that's the way it should be. So you will see probably in SMEs or big corporation that they provide success stories, or they try to do something specifically on targeted genre and targeted market, and so on. So uh, social selling specifically, you have to have a strong backbone before you start and jump, because it's not the thing that you should start today and you will get succeeded tomorrow. It's a continually and continuous growth, and you have to know the tactics, because uh, when you talk to people to support them with, you need to understand that okay, you are supporting them and you have a framework or you have a strategy, because without a strategy, if you talk to someone, they will not get the actual essence of working. We are nearly end of our session. So to our viewers, we had Beverley Poole Business Builders, and we are talking to social selling, how you can master in social selling. So probably we will have another couple of events only for mastering social selling, talking with Beverley and talking to you. If you wanted to ask us any question, please feel free to ask us. Otherwise, we will have some end remarks, and we will close end this program very soon. But as we are discussing on social selling, Beverly, we talk about ROI, we talk about measuring success, we talk about real relationship and trust, we talk about different type of social media platforms. We have specifically touched many points. So at the end, if I wanted to ask you to tell me 5 key points that people should look into before they jump into the Pandora box of social selling.
Right. Okay. So off the top of my head, I would say the first thing you've got to understand is what you are selling, which is something that I've been talking to my coach about today. Once you've got that sort of in the bag, really, you know what it is who is your client that you can actually sell? Who does your service? What does it sort out as a problem for your particular client? And I do this every day for everybody else, but doing it for yourself is really hard. So, but if you understand who your client is, the age groups, all those things that we talked about, your client persona, what hat do they wear? What jacket do they wear? Where do they go to eat? Who are they? And then you can tailor something that is going to be there to cover their pain point. Definitely the strategy and what you're actually trying to get out there. The quarterly marketing, I would say, is key, backed up by PR, which not a lot of people do when I go to speak to them. PR is more the long burn, which is something that you put there just now about long-term implications. But also, it's so important to get your thought leadership out there. So you could have a newsletter example. Your newsletter can go to your database, etc., etc. So it's who you are, what you do, and the pains that you support, your strategy, the stories that you want to tell, and where that you're actually going to put them. And you know as well as I do that if you go, oh, I've got really sore shoulder, people go, oh, so have I. So those are the people that you're trying to hit with your sore shoulder message to make sure that you get your message in the right place.
Thank you, Beverly. We had a very pleasant afternoon today, and we have talked about social selling to our audience. To our audience, if you wanted to ask us any questions, you can just ask us. Otherwise, I will ask Beverly if she has a closing remarks.
Just to say thank you very much. And I just had a text from my daughter who is in New York, and they're having an earthquake. So my closing remark is thank you so much for inviting me here. I do need to go and speak to her because that's a bit worrying. But we are here to answer questions. After the event and at any time over the next few weeks is absolutely fine. We're now in Q2, and it's really important that we get this message out there. Is you don't have to struggle all on your own, because there are people out there that can help you. You and I work together, Dr. Shah. We've got a group of people that we work with as our squad, which is absolutely fantastic, which is now coming together, which is great. And we're all here to help.
Yeah. To our viewers, thank you very much for your time. And from GenZ Marketing, we do specifically support businesses for digital marketing as well as specifically social selling. We have a strategy, we work with the strategy, and we will work with the target, because without target, there isn't any sales, there isn't
This is
anything.
true.
So if you wanted to have us with you, or if you want us maybe a test or maybe a complimentary service, we always do complimentary service for our audience, because we know that if they get our complimentary service, they will like it. Or if you don't like it, if you don't want it to get the paid service, you can get our framework and you can build your team by yourself. So we
Yeah.
support you to do that. So we're going to be ending now. And thank you, Beverly, and
Thank
thank you
you.
to all of the audience that you're watching. Please feel free to contact us through social media. Otherwise, I will say you bye, and we'll see you next week with another topic. And until then, stay tuned, and we need your support. Support us to support you. And otherwise, thank you and bye bye. I will see you next week with a different speaker. Thank you very much, and bye bye.